Hello! So for today's lesson, we are going to review the short story that we read yesterday. If you are at home and you have this book, you can go ahead and reread pages 19 to 22 and look for the instructions that I'm going to tell you in a little bit. If you're with me, we're going to just scan this document and come up with some words. And then if you're at home and you do not have the book at home, this Girls Think of Everything, go back and watch yesterday's lesson and just re-listen to the story to help you with what I'm about to explain. So, this short story was called Liquid Paper, and we are looking today for any special vocabulary that has to do with inventions, the process of the creation, or the marketing of the product. So, as I was looking back through, I'm just going to do an example with you, okay? I was looking for words that had to do with the invention or the process, things like that. As I was scanning through the first part, remember that's when it was talking about how she made some mistakes and how she was upset, but then she wanted to find something to correct her mistakes. So it wasn't really talking about how she developed some of those things yet. On the next page, this is where I started to come into some vocabulary that I thought some of us might not know. So, I was looking in this paragraph right here. It talked about how, although it worked, so her paint was working, the tempera she had been using took too long to dry. It also left the paper wet. So the word tempera, that might be a word that some of us maybe need to record in our thinking. So what you're going to need to do this today is this writer's notebook. Okay, so go ahead and get this out. It's the yellow writer's notebook. And you're going to turn to the very first page that you can write on, which is 1:1, and it says Word Bank at the top. Now, I am going to do mine on a Google Slide, so it looks a little bit different than yours, but it'll be the same thing, okay? So I'm just going to write the word tempera here. Now, let's think about the word tempera, and let's go back and look in the text. Although it worked, the tempera she had been using took too long to dry, and it also left the paper wet. What are we thinking here? Go ahead and pause the video, raise your hand, let's discuss. Okay, so if you were thinking maybe that it means it's soluble in water, it's a type of liquid that she helped use to make her paint work, that would be what she's thinking there, okay? So we'll record those thoughts down there beside the word. Then, so I'll go ahead and do that. Going to go back here. I also thought, unfortunately, she couldn't afford to hire a chemist to improve her product. So she wanted a chemist because that would help make her product better. A chemist is a scientist who studies chemistry. And you can keep going through this. Go ahead and re-listen or reread and find a few other words that you may need to record down to figure out the meanings of. Once you've gone through and you've written a few words, your job is to write the word in the bank and then identify the part of speech. Is it a noun, a verb, an adjective, or an adverb? If you are struggling with how to remember that, you may look up the definitions of all of those 4 things, or you can talk to me if you're in my class, okay? All right, so that is all for today. Thanks, guys.